Bhopal Disaster. Accident can happen in closed plant. This is was taught by Bhopal Disaster to all Indian people. The paradigm got shifted and people start believing that yes, accident do happen in closed plant too. These are the main names which are involved in entire Bhopal disaster case. This is a site layout, and if you see it very clearly, quite a big site. When it was taken over by United Carbide, the people surrounded the site was not present, but later on people came and surround the site. That is also a very big issue in India, that people surround the place, and in chemical industry this is very disastrous. If we see a background as a Bhopal, the DDT was banned at that point of time, and all were waiting that what is the replacement of DDT. And India also want a solution for DDT, because now a farmer need a solution to DDT. Union Carbide, a big name with a success, came up with saving production, and since it is a big name and in American MNC, giant MNC, people believe that yes, the what Union Carbide is saying is a true. Mr. Munoz at that point of time convinced Indian government that yes, saving has a very good success rate over DDT. It is quite safe for use, and the deal was fixed. The deal was the UCL will give 1,200 of saving, ton of saving, and Indian government will give a permission to build a plant of saving in India. So that was the background. So Mr. Santosh Dindayal was a broker who convinced UCL, and Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in turn convinced King to give that particular land to UCL. It took almost 10 years for UCL to build a plant. MIC and Fugin are the main raw materials, and both are very dangerous. But what was told and convinced to people that the final product, which was a saving, was not a problematic thing and it is quite safe. And that was the reason MIC and Fugin's hazards and danger were neglected by everybody. Initially, it was MIC was imported from the USA. The first consignment of 16 drums, 150 liter each, on 1976 was brought by Mr. Kamal Parikh. It was in insulated drums, maintained at temperature of 38, maintained temperature, and 30-hour journey from Haji Ali Port to Bhopal was done by Kamal Parikh. So you can understand the importance he understood about the safety. Mr. Warren Umar was appointed, and quite a senior name, and he is well aware about hazards of Fusion and MIC. The actual tragedy started when 3 tanks of 50 tons each were built in the plant itself, and that was the first reason. If we see plant history, first fatality happened on 23rd May 1981 due to Fujian leakage, and it was a start point, which was what we call as a first sign. And the man who inhaled Fujian was Mr. Muhammad Arif Khan. Second major accident happened on 10th February 1982. But the people were saved, and hence it was understood, or it was convinced to all people that now we understand how to make the things, and hence no issues, and we know how to handle the hazard. This was the reaction, this was the treatment. Even government agreed to that at that point of time. Since the weather was not good and saving demand start dropping down, the cost cutting starts in the plant. On 6 December 1982, Mr. Warren Woomer was asked to come back to USA. Mr. Jagannath Mukund was appointed, who was of Indian origin, as a factory manager there. Obviously, he is not very familiar with saving processor, and the people who are familiar in chemical industry must are aware, but all other people may not, that everything related with process is not told to everybody. There are number of secrecies maintained in order to protect the product, and this was everywhere. Now the people working in chemical industry aware about that. Jagannath Mukund then thought at that point of time, and since the it was understood, or it was a very firm belief that accident will happen only when the plant is running, so he decided to stop refrigeration plant. Then slowly he stopped all the things because the plant was not running, so he decided to do the maintenance. The Kamal Parikh, who was the first person, and now on 13 December 1983, when he left the organization, was the only person who is fully aware about entire production processes. Now, since the saving demands and goes down, plant was almost shut, kind of thing, and hence everybody start believe that burn plant do not have accident, and hence MIC plant need not require a safety. The safety communication which was there and was given for MIC tanks, 3 tanks which were built, was clearly mentioned that nitrogen blanket pressures of MIC tank need to be maintained. The water should not go into the MIC plant. The flame has to be on all the time. The stock of MIC should be as low as possible. Always use hand gloves and mask while operating in plant. Ensure scrubber condition healthy all the time. Both the forging and the MIC are heavier than air, so be very careful. It will come from down, not from up, and hence the escape route should be as high as possible. Always keep MIC at 0 degree temperature, and this was the communication given, and it was written also everywhere. But on 2nd December 1984, what was the condition? Refrigeration system was down, so obviously temperature was to 32 to 42 degree. 0 to 5 degree, it is very less reactive, but now it is at a room temperature. You understand the Bhopal temperature, atmospheric temperature. Refrigeration was shut down on June 1984 and coolant freon was drained out, so in case of emergency you cannot even start the plant. The nitrogen blanket of tank E610 was not present, as pressure on the gauge was showing 0 when investigation was done. Now either the pressure gauge was not correct or there was no nitrogen. There is no standby given to anything, and MIC active production was not there, so plant was even not operated. Fire water spray pipes to control the escaping gas was not able to reach up to the flames. The flare, that is to burn toxic gases, was not running. The scrubber system was down. So if you see, all the things which was told to keep on were all down. Now the big debate was, if you see this figure, these are the three tanks located here, and the incident happened at this place. Now the entire theory is how the water traveled through the pipeline towards this tank. That is the only controversial in entire case, that this water traveled and goes into the MIC plant, and hence the problem started. Now this is the diagram showing what exactly the system is. Now there are different theories, and theories were told how exactly water goes. Now here exactly where the operation was going on, and here in 610 entire incident happened. So you understand the amount of water which was gone into the 610. Now the theory which was famous was that the cleaning activity was happening here, and entire this pipeline were filled with water because of the back pressure. The water was not come out, and slip disc was unable to slip disc was not put, and hence the water came and goes into the 610 tank by back pressure. This was a theory which was very popular. The another theory which was told is that the water was sabotaged by the people and put it into the 610 tank. Now these are the two theories which was popular, one from company and one from people there. So this is the popular theory which I put in here. A 19-year-old Rahman Khan was assigned work for cleaning a 7 reactor. This is a very critical job. He is not fully aware about the processes. Mr. Venugopalan given him the standard operating procedure in written format. However, while doing so, he missed a very important thing, that how to using a slip blinding process, that is how to isolate the pipelines. The water started at 9:15 p.m. and kept on for cleaning. But due to sedimentation in pipelines, one pipe got choked and at outlet, and hence water was not coming out from the same. So it was communicated to Mr. Venugopalan by phone. He was advised to keep the water continue because he believes that since the time is quite high, the sedimentation will be there and there is no problem. The water keep going reverse direction. In MIC tanks, the tank's wall was not properly closed. At that point of time, E610, 611 and 612 all had MICs 42 ton, 20 ton and 1 ton respectively. The 610 tank nitrogen blanket was not fully effective, and hence water was allowed to flow inside the tank, and this was the real cause, what we call as a root cause, that water entered into the 610, and the root cause is water got into the 610. How there is a differences how that water goes into the tank, but yes, the problem is water got into the 610 tank. An exothermic reaction with MIC started, and runway reaction start. The night shift operator observed the gas leakage in the pipe and overlooked, as it believes that since the production is not there, accident will not happen. There is small leakages, and the small leakages keep on happening, so they never bother about that. But when it was increased, first time the workmen feel that okay, there is something wrong. Mr. Sumande, Mr. Shakil Qureshi were the supervisor at that point of time, and VN Singh and Mohanlal Verma were inside the factory. At 12:30, dial gauge of the reactor suddenly exceeded its reading from 3 psig to 55 psig, which was last possible reading on the dial gauge. When Mr. Suman approached to the tank, he found that heavy sound of liquid boiling inside the tank. The vibration he observed, and the concrete is causing cracks. Now here they understood that something has gone wrong. Now, since they are not fully prepared how to handle this situation, what they did, They allow safety valve to open. The entire gas went into the scrubber tank, which obviously not working. Operator tried to switch it on, but it doesn't work. And then gas went to the flare chamber, and 100 feet above the ground, it vented to the atmosphere. And then it, since it is heavier than air, it came down, and entire village got affected. While what the company is saying that the pipe washing theory is not true, but water was inserted through a pressure gauge which was situated on tank 610, and this is an act of sabotage. Now this is what they believe in, company believing. So this is what had happened. So what is the learning of Bhopal disaster? If we say that accident do happen in closed plant, leakage is the first sign and of abnormality, and we need to immediately keep attention, and we should immediately act on that. Safety system should not be kept under maintenance. Now in this case, if you see, refrigeration system, scrubber system, flare flame system, nitrogen blanket system, all are under maintenance. So and there is no standby, so that is again a surprise thing. Untrained workforce should not be given a critical work to do. The SOPs must be written in advance so that there will not be any miscommunication. The temperature and pressure are vital process parameters, and temperature and pressure related documents, the gauges should be well calibrated, and even a slight deviation in that should be carefully handled. The community should be very well aware about the hazards and how to cope the situation. Now this point I have taken because if you read the entire case, the doctors themselves don't know how to, what kind of treatment should be done on the people, and hence the number goes up again. In this case, no one knows what is MIC. As all know that saline is the product, and doctor unable to help people. Then another thing which was happened is there should not be a bypass communication system which was there in the plant for communicated outside world. Now this system was there to communicate the outside world that the leakage has happened and please be careful and run in this direction, that direction. But what was the people thought it is very necessary to communicate to inside the factory, and hence they bypass the system, and so the communication happened only inside the factory. And the safety system should be designed and tested for worst possible situation. As here in this case, 100 feet fire hydrant water was not able to go till the tower, and hence defense was failed, which was the last defense though. In plant, safety system must be provided with standby arrangement so that when the maintenance was taken, plant operators is still covered with a defined safety and risk is low. Definite safety and risk is low. On this note, I am completing this video, but the main again and very important thing which I not written it down, but I mentioned while we are going through the presentation, that the people must aware how to handle the situation, and that is also very important thing which is missing here. They understood that something is gone wrong and how to handle that situation. If you see, there are a number of videos and number of theories were put in, and I strongly believe that even though this kind of thing has happened, and if the trained people were there, they able to able to act it so properly that the disaster which was happened in Bhopal will be very low and minimal, because they allow water to flow into the 610, and in order to control the things is what I able to understood, because the people who were there was not very trained, and very casual approach, and normally the leakages was there, so no, we are not very the things were not taken seriously. So these kind of things had happened, and hence even this the problem was happened, safety system was not there. But at the same time, the very if the workforce is properly trained, then also it is possible to minimize the wastage which was going to happen because of the hazard. So I do believe that the companies need to think before they allow a trained workforce to go out of the factory. Thank you.